Happy New Year. Welcome to week 6 of Explore the Bible. It's 2024, whether you're watching this on New Year's Day. Some of you may be watching it on Monday morning. Others are later in the week. God bless you. We hope 2024 is a great year. Excited about all that God's going to do during this time. I'm wearing my orange today because New Year's Day. The Longhorns are playing a big football game in the college football playoffs tonight. So I'm excited about that. So that's why I got the orange on today. But we're going to be diving into Genesis 6 and 7 today as we continue this series going through the book of Genesis and explore the Bible. Before we look at that, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, please. Come on, hit the like button right now. Then you got a comment or a question, put that in there. Share the video with somebody else. Might help them as they do their study. And then if you want to help support what we're doing, go to give.exposedtochrist.com to support our teaching and our mission work that we've got going on. Let's look at Genesis 6 and 7. Here we go. We're going to pick up in verse 13. So like we say often in this, we're hitting highlights. So you need to read all of Genesis 6 and 7. It's not real long. You can do it. Read through it all so you get a sense of the story. You might even go on past that, but at least 6 and 7 for this week. Then God said to Noah, I have decided to put an end to every creature, for the earth is filled with wickedness because of them. Therefore, I am going to destroy them along with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark. Cover it with pitch inside and out. Excuse me. All right. God tells Noah. Noah is one who has found favor in the eyes of the Lord, right? He's the righteous man on the earth. I'm going to put an end to every creature, because the earth is full of wickedness. Wickedness abounds. And the Lord says, I'm done. I'm done with this. So I'm going to destroy them. I'm going to destroy all the people, all the living creatures. That's what's going to happen, right? So you need to make an ark. Make yourself an ark. It's going to rain. It's going to rain a lot. It's going to flood. You need an ark. This is how you are to make it. This is interesting to me, okay? The ark will be 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, 45 feet high. Okay, if you're reading an older translation, King James Version or something, it's going to talk about cubits. A cubit is the distance from your elbow to the end of your hand. About 1.5 feet is kind of how we average that out, right? So it's 300 cubits, 50 cubits, and 30 cubits. You are to make a roof of it, finishing the sides of the ark to within 18 inches of the roof. You're to put a door in the side of the ark. Make it with lower, middle, and upper decks. You see this specific, right? How long, how wide, how high. Excuse me. What the roof is to be, the pitch of the roof, within 18 inches of the roof is where that comes, right? Where the door goes. Your decks that are in there, the Lord's very specific. The Lord has a way that it is to be done. He didn't just say, Noah, go make an ark. And I bet he told Noah to make a boat. Noah wasn't making one this big. I mean, this is a cruise ship. This is a huge ship that he's making. And it's not just something that you would see around. Other people were building them too. That was not the case. Noah didn't live near the water. He's making this huge ship, building it, covering it with pitch, all the top and the sides, right, to keep the water out, the decks that he's supposed to make. Because the Lord is about to tell Noah what his plan is, and it's not just for Noah, and it's not just for Noah's immediate family. It is a big plan that he has for him. We need to be careful, I think, at this point, to realize that when God gives us a plan, doing it his way is absolutely essential. Because even though we may have in our mind a thought about how that's going to get executed, God's thought is different than ours. And we need to do it his way so that he can accomplish all that he intends to accomplish with his plan. Okay. He says, understand, I am bringing a flood. I am bringing a flood. Flood waters on the earth to destroy every creature under heaven with the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark with your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives. You are also to bring into the ark 2 of all the living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. Now the plan is showing up, right? I'm bringing a flood. We're going to destroy every creature, everything on earth. that I'm establishing a covenant with you, a promise with you. I'm making a promise to you. I'm entering into an agreement with you where I am going to accomplish what I said I would accomplish, right? So you go with your sons and your wife and your sons' wives and 2 of all the living creatures, male and female. Oh, that's why we need a big ark, right? That's why the Lord said you're fixing to have a lot of passengers on this ark. You need to build a big one, right? You need to make it big enough for all the passengers to show up. So 2 of everything, from the birds according to their kinds, from the livestock according to their kinds, from the animals that crawl on the ground according to their kinds, will come to you so that you can keep them alive. Take with you every kind of food that is eaten, gather it as food for you and for them. And Noah did this. He did everything that God had commanded him. Birds, livestock, animals that crawl, and I love this. They will come to you. The Lord is sovereign. So the Lord can destroy the earth if he chooses to, and he can save all the animals, and he'll get the animals to somehow migrate to where Noah is. That's quite a deal, right? Now, the estimates are, okay, we read, I think it's in chapter 4 maybe, that Noah is 500 years old when he's mentioned with his 3 sons. Then we know that when the flood starts, he's 600 years old. We don't know necessarily that it was 100 years that he was alive in between those 2 times, that he knew that he had this plan, that he got the plan at 500 and then the flood came at 600. Needless to say, he was an old guy, right? In this day and in that time, people lived hundreds of years often. And so that's, there's all this time that has passed, right? So Noah, he gets after it, right? You got to take the food too. I love this. You got to take the food because you're going to need food for you and for them. Think about it. You're going to be on the boat. Now, they're going to be on the boat about a year. About a year, they're going to be on the boat. So Noah did this. He did everything God had commanded him. This was the evidence that Noah was indeed a man who was faithful to the Lord. The Lord gave him instruction. He did everything the Lord told him to do. So now we're going to skip to chapter 7. Okay. Obviously, all the animals have gotten into the ark. Noah and his family have gotten into the ark. God has closed the door. The rain has started, right? And the rain goes and goes and goes. And it says the mountains were covered as the water surged above them more than 20 feet. And every creature perished, those that crawl on the earth, birds, livestock, wildlife, and those that swarm on the earth, as well as all mankind. Everything with the breath of the Spirit of life in its nostrils, everything on dry land died. And everything on dry land died because the earth was covered water. See, this water surged more than 20 feet above the mountains. Mountains were totally submerged. Water has covered the earth. People say, I don't get this. And I've got some geologist friends and they dispute this. And look, we're not talking about the geology. We're not talking about the strata of earth. You can have those conversations. Those are interesting. If I was you as a teacher, if you had those resources available, you'd found those things, I would be more likely to point people to those resources. But don't allow your class to descend into an argument over whether the flood was worldwide or not, all right, or whether it was the world that they knew. That's not going to be helpful or fruitful to you. Point them to resources and say, hey, go read about it here, go study about it here, because that is not, that discussion can distract us from life that matters and life decisions that matter. And whether or not whichever side of that discussion you land on will not affect your willingness to put your faith and trust in God and to walk with Him and to trust Him to be sovereign over your life. Okay? So that's why I would just leave those discussions alone. Some people will want to drag you into that. You may want to drag people. Don't do it. Resist that urge. Christians, too many times we spend an inordinate amount of time talking about things that don't ultimately matter, and that distracts us from those things that do. Okay? The Lord has destroyed the earth. That's what we know. He wiped out every living thing that was on the face of the earth, from mankind to livestock to creatures that crawl, the birds of the sky, and they were wiped off the earth. You see this? Wiped off a couple of times, right? Only Noah was left and those that were with him in the ark, and the water surged on the earth for 150 and 50 days. See, we think about that rain 40 days and 40 nights, but there was 150 days they were there on the ark. That's 5 more months. Right? This is a long time. Not to mention, when the water starts to recede, it takes time. So you read the rest of 7 and get into 8. We see that, okay? Here's the thing. We'll go back to the beginning. Why did this happen? I've decided to put an end to every creature because the earth is filled with wickedness. Judgment happens. I believe today that the reason that God hasn't destroyed the earth yet is because of the work of Christ and how that work is still making itself known around the world and in the lives of people all over the world. And so it is not because we are not deserving of destruction. It is because the Lord is gracious not to have already destroyed us again. And because he made a promise it wouldn't be by flood, but that doesn't mean he won't do it some other way. And we know that there will be a new heaven and a new earth. So it's not that the Lord doesn't feel the same way, doesn't have the same disdain, hatred, and completely disgusted with the fate or with the condition of the world today. It is that the Lord is being gracious so that people may still get saved. And for that, I'm very thankful. Hey, it's going to be a great year, 2024. I hope you're excited about it. This is a good way to enter the year, okay? It may seem kind of down, but it is good to know that God is judge, but that God is also being gracious. We may not have a full year left. Take advantage of it while you can. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, comment, share with somebody else. Hook 'em horns. See you next week.